Yes, Clare and Offaly into this year's All-Ireland hurling final. Last Sunday we saw Ulster champions Tyrone qualify for the football final. But who'll be joining them in that? Who will be the last team to make up the Big Four for the two showcase finals in September? Will it be the Munster champions Cork or the champions of Leinster Dublin? Well, that of course is the very big question to be answered here at Croke Park this afternoon. As you can see, a lovely sunny afternoon here in Dublin. Throw-in for the senior match is at 3:30. But before that, and coming up in just a little bit less than 15 minutes' time, we have an intriguing minor semi-final. Because in that we have the footballers of Westmeath and Tipperary. And Westmeath are here on the strength of 3 games in the Leinster final, eventually winning that second replay. And Tipperary this year have proved themselves to be the best team in Munster. So I suppose some unusual jerseys to be seen around Croke Park this afternoon. OK, then let me introduce my panel and my guests here in the presentation box to you. We welcome back again from last week Martin McHugh of Donegal, and of course the present Cavan manager. And another man, well, best known to you as a Dub, but I suppose a little bit of a Donegal man now as well. We have Brian Mullins, of course, who played here in the 1983 All-Ireland final. We'll be talking to them in just a moment, but before that, let's go down to pitch side. As I said, a very warm, indeed a blisteringly warm day here in Dublin and in Croke Park, as Tony O'Donoghue, who is down there, knows very well.
Yes, indeed, Michael. It is very warm down here at the pitch side at Croke Park. Mick ODwyer joins me. Can you remember a warmer day, Mick, in your years playing and managing teams at Croke Park?
Well, going back a long time, I remember I was here looking at a final in 1955. It was a semi-final actually in 1955, and there was 4 semi-finals here. I think today would be just about as warm as that day was.
I walked the pitch a short time ago. It's very, very hard as well. Will that have an effect on the game?
Oh, no doubt. Today is the day for the younger players, you know, and the older generation out there today, Charlie Redmond and Larry Tompkins and all these guys, they'll find it pretty tough today, you know. So the younger guys should be really moving around this pitch today.
I think they'll have to get the water onto the pitch as often as possible as well.
Well, water, I suppose, will be of vital importance today. We played in the States one time, and what they used to use there was salt tablets, and I think they could do with those here today as well.
You were telling me there's a lot of sympathy for the Dubs this year around the other 31 counties.
Well, it's amazing. I've travelled around the country this year, and, you know, generally the 31 counties are against Dublin. But I suppose the reason being that they were in the last 3 finals and they were defeated. And I suppose, in fairness, it's their turn to win in All-Ireland. But I think Cork will have other ideas today, and I think it's going to be a great game of football today.
We're looking forward to it indeed. It should be a great game of football. And glad to say a breeze has just come up. Michael.
And I can tell you it's been more than welcome, Tony. The jacket has been left on the hook over there in the corner. I can tell you at the moment, contemplating leaving the shirt over there with it as well. It's so warm here today. Well, as I said, in the minor match coming up shortly, it's Westmeath against Tipperary. And interesting to see Westmeath and Tipperary football jerseys around Croke Park here today. Our commentator for that minor match is McHugh O'Shea.
Gur míle maith Michael agus mar a bhí sé rá an ERV agus topradáran don giadú riamh I gréibh chomórtas aige thuirt ar a chéalacha an ERV agus créibh lion buite chéad bhálta fadacha buite go tucha ceithir buite go tucha naia chuige dó 63 agus 9 agus buite ige topradáran créibh na mún buite go súd 5 nuaide tucha ceithir tucha 5 chuige 8 ceithir agus 9 agus countdas na sár bhuana a bhí ag Tobradáran sa bhliain 9 ceithir. Bné an taon bhliain riamh a bhuadar créibh na héireann an ERV in nuaide bháin a chuadar chofada agus seachuin amach inis iad fuidir na ERV teach amach ar a bháirtasa in nuaide bháin riamh a chuadar chofada le créibh na héireann sa bhliain 9 agus bné an sunagad tan stúr trainer take amach duine an na sár felidóidí hacha agus an captain an son Damien Gavin ach sinné John Deehan leis bell a mo lá páirce ó bhóta gráineoige an lá go hálinn ar fad chun caide an sa agus fuidir na ERV dóchasach go néana sé tain an taction na chluhí a imar go dísacha bhuadar an aig Loch Garman bhuadar an aig Chielbhaintáin agus an aig Lungfurt agus an son tríomhálta a bhíidir le lís agus san na himirt bhí 8,000 duine a láthid an chiad chluthe 2,000 duine a láthid an tarna chluthe sin 5,000 duine a fiechant amánathe óga na ERV agus há siad an sa inniu agus iad dóchasach go néana siad go néana an taithí sin anna heidirh ar fadóibh snéan púlbáide an son Aidan Lennon agus tam stúr trainer a héamh na lábhí clé an son bhí sé siúd in na chaptain idir na ERV an irig agus gortícha níos tuiscim léana agus áine sé reis sin iad an idir an son gan éon athrú ar a bhuiideannacha an Lon Hooley, Kevin Hickey, Anna Lon Hooley is fad, and Mullins Parke and son, Damien Gavin, agus Joe Casey, Sort Philadoidi, and Mullins Parke, agus Peshe the Bra, the Tussahich, on the score in the hall, Stuart Trainer, agus and Lon Sachanson, Cahill Kane, Thomas Cleary, Farrelly, and a Hatzlat, agus John Deehan, and him the live edition. Sinead Marshin, Fidden na here V, agus Shachwininish, Fidden Hobradorden. Fidden Hobradorden. Again, on Taction, a Guigimon, agus Gan Huitico, Achan Hochunta Ebedisa, Ach Dala, na here V, a Hemmers de Vico, and Ike Fort Lloyd again, agus Sana Hemmers, Jaidig Loha, and now Caravan, on Taction again, agus and son, is Doug Dinny, last of the Hobradorden, Hook Shanstoy, Supply Canish, is Starting Galtic, Gilarne, and Ike Hortwee. Ach ginedar an vert weichas is stochod an dachol a reimschieder sig jedle Kelnakeson o Darren Owens agus well vi intalish sa Olsen maar Klepsien had an Dalafero intalish na packige motto is stoch agus Brian McHugh and son for shoot cool o Kikedike agus Sinead and son Fidden Obradorn Sinead Paul Ormond at Farahamo the Lord Port Kilo agus yet Glaze a Mohansa, Edisi Khan, agus PJ Sweeney, Brian McHugh, Matt Gaucher, and Captain, a Mohansan Fantasig, agus an Heid Fenna Hossige, agus Fidden Hobradorn, Dochasach, Homa, agus Aiga Hutiko Eden Ervi, the Stalin Scale, near Will the Ford, the Shelley Hele, Rio Hanna, a grave Homofus. On Log of Heaven, a Fat and so, agus Sinead Fidden Hobradorn. Niall Kelly and Lon Hooley and son agus vi sé siúd ann an Liddy Coma imidín sé Pell agus imidín sé Amánaíocht agus Ben Walsh vi sé siúd a gimmert le Clonmel Commercials is stig sa chúine tá sé gimmert go le ráblion agus vi sé raus an Liddy leis na Pelladóidí Coma agus imidín sé Amánaíocht agus imidín sé Pell agus a Mullins Parke mar a Visarálif Paul Ormond Anna Pelladóidí siúd agus David Fogarty gimmert leis na Hamána he lit 3 bliana ag a Hobradorn Craib na Moon Buitige Há blian o hin Marshin le Fidden Hobradorn agus Craib eile Buitige dar no nís túisce im bliana is Stardy Galantag agus na Tussahe an bhirte fuair na Cúil sin a Craib na Moon Darren Owens agus Mach Béisiú leis a Drainálí agus an einach le siúd Brian McHugh an fear a fuidir cúla le roiib an dachúl háta pa Gílárne. Ian Owens a Drainálí agus a bhacht mar a vís ará Darren Owens a heb na lága clé na Tussahe agus Mark Gaucher, Captain na Fórne mar Lánta Sachaco agus Sinead Inisiad agus Rois go gin choma an Ardán nó all trasna na Páisce hágad taisech ar fadan sa hinniu agus lá chód teilis ní cuinlimsa ó chréibh canis na Mún an 1970 is Stardy Galantag na bhí Ciarí agus Corcaig le chéile go Sinead an Multóid an son Michael McGrath ó hír chonel agus McInerney mar Michael McGrath Sinead Michael McGrath ní sin McInerney in échar Michael McGrath ó hír chonel an Multóid agus
So then, as Michael McGrath's having his picture taken down there, ready for the minor match. Just before we go to that minor game and go back again to Micheál O'Shea, a word from Martin McHugh and from Brian Mullins, our panellists, about the senior game. Martin, most people are tipping Dublin not only to win the match today, but to be All-Ireland champions this year. Is that your view also?
Yeah, well, I feel it's going to take a good team to beat Dublin, but I was in the hotel this morning, I met some of the Cork players and they're very confident. They feel that their half-back line midfield area could swing the match for them. It's got the making of a great match. I think getting water onto the pitch today is going to be very important because the heat down there, and the fittest team when they end up could come out on top.
OK, Brian, obviously you'll be hoping that Dublin win today, but you living, as I mentioned earlier, up in County Donegal and Carndonagh these days. What's the view from Carndonagh?
Well, the view from Carndonagh and probably other parts is a strange one from a Dublin point of view. Believe it or not, I get the impression that an awful lot of people around the country would actually like to see Dublin win in All-Ireland, which is the totally opposite of when I was playing myself. And it's one which I feel slightly uncomfortable with because I think Dublin teams thrived in the past on believing that there was them against 31 counties. But I would agree with Martin, it has all the potential and the ingredients for being a very, very close match. When these teams met last in '89, Dublin got their dream start with a goal and a point, and then things went wrong between letting goals in and sending off. So anything is possible. Two well-drilled teams, and I think that the day that's in it it could be a very, very good match, very close.
OK, Brian Morty, we'll talk more about the senior match later on, but before we go to that minor match, let's go down and have a word from Marty Morrissey, who will be the commentator for that senior game.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, I can tell you that the Cork team, or indeed the Dublin team, are not here yet. Cork travelled last night, stayed in the Burlington Hotel, and we're seen walking around the streets of Dublin, relaxing early this morning. They're not due here until around 2:30. The Dublin team are expected to be in the dressing room at 2:45. It's very hot here down on the pitch, and Anthony Malloy, captain of the Donegal team in '92, is with me. What is it going to be like for the players of Cork and Dublin today, Anthony?
Well, I'd imagine it's going to be very difficult indeed. As you see yourself, Marty, it's very warm out there, and it's going to take a very fit team there, you know, to last the 70 minutes, and there's going to be a lot of water used out there, Neil, sure.
What have Cork got to do to beat this Dublin side, because they are hot favourites?
Yeah, well, I think it's down to on the day, you know, it's over 70 minutes, and I think if the team that really sticks it out there for the 70 minutes is going to win at the end of I don't think, you know, that there's going to be much between the teams really, Marty, at the end of the day.
Anthony Malloy, would you like to be out there today?
I'd love to be, Marty. It's 2 or 3 years now since I was out here, and there's no doubt about it. You know, it's great coming up here to Croke Park at any time, and especially around All-Ireland and All-Ireland semi-final times and final times, you know.
Anthony Malloy, thank you very much for joining us. Back to you, Michael.
Marty Morrissey, who will be the commentator on the senior game a little bit later on. But before we go to that minor match, a quick word from Martin McHugh about the minor match. Westmeath against Tipperary. As I said earlier, Martin, an unusual pairing, to say the least of it.
Yeah, it is, Michael, but I think it's great to see the smaller counties coming up, and I think it's down to the coaching that's going on in both counties. Mick O'Connell, as far as I know, is actually living in Tipperary now, and he's doing a side of work there, and it's paying off. They have 20 coaches, full-time coaches there, and working very hard. So I think that that's the reaping awards. I think it's great to see the smaller counties coming up, and it's great for whatever one of the ones today to be playing in All-Ireland final. It's something maybe the teams like that they never thought back in either country.
And also, Brian, there's a little bit of a move in Westmeath. They're trying to improve the standards of football there. We've seen it from the seniors. They're under 21s as well. So this is important for them too.
Well, I think around the country as a whole, there, as Martin says, there are many, many people who work very, very hard for nothing a lot of the time. But the proof of it is that these two teams are here today after very, very good matches in the Leinster final and the Munster final. And I would agree with Martin that any county has an opportunity to get to this stage, and it's proof of the pudding with Westmeath and Tipperary that if juveniles and mentals put their mind to it, that anything's possible.
OK, Brian, Martin, they're almost ready to go for that minor match. Westmeath then against Tipperary. Commentator will be O'Shea.